You are welcome to HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. After the New York trial which saw the Brooklyn federal judge Ann Donnelly issue R. Kelly a 30-year-long sentence, and the Chicago trial whose sentencing is scheduled for February 2023, R. Kelly fans and supporters were glad that the most serious trials were finally behind us, but R. Kelly still has some state cases to deal with involving 3 accusers. 2 of these accusers, Rishona Landfair and Jahanda Pace, have already been involved in the 2 federal trials and will likely be repeating themselves during testimony. But the 3rd accuser, who happens to be Kelly's former hair braider, did miss out in the federal trials and is relatively new to the ongoing case. Though, as you may have learned from our previous videos, this will be her 3rd time to peruse restitutions, with the hope that R. Kelly will again pay her. The prosecution has been given quite a small window of time to weigh their opportunities and make a formal decision as to whether they will be going forward with the state case or not. Until now, however, no formal communication has been made to indicate that this will happen. This delay has created suspicions that prosecution may have chosen to pull out in order to avoid any further legal misconduct from their camp, as many mistakes were evident during the previous trials. In their overzealous efforts to keep the R&B King behind bars, the prosecution made numerous legal mistakes that did cost them in Chicago, and that are yet to cost them a greater deal during the yet-to-come New York appeal. While some of the mistakes they made violated standard prosecution-witness relationship, they also made numerous infringements on the defendant's rights, mistakes that are yet to cost them. Also important to note, a number of charges imposed on R. Kelly by prosecution remain questionable, and are also yet to be contested during the upcoming New York appeal. Having lost their cases against Darrell McDavid and Milton June Brown, who were found not guilty in Chicago, also does leave their RICO charges against Kelly in New York hanging, and these will definitely lack proper justification during the appeal. The government prosecutors also do realize they do not have the best of witnesses for the state cases, considering Rishona's testimony in the Chicago federal case was completely deviant from what they had briefed her to say, and Jahanda Pace's story too has gaps, as we will be revealing to you in the next video. This leaves them with the hair braider Lanita Carter, who doesn't really have a solid case against the R&B King. Lanita Carter even risks attracting a lawsuit against herself, considering she was involved in negotiation of settlements outside court with an overzealous lawyer by the name Susan Loggins, whose actions were regarded criminal. This leaves prosecution out of proper witnesses to present, and are therefore vulnerable to the defense, which is well prepared for the battle. One common denominator among government prosecutors is they usually care more about their careers than the so-called victims, dubbed R. Kelly survivors, and will never put this at risk fighting obvious losing battles like this one. They will be quick to excite accusers about the possibilities, but when things go south, they tend to chicken out quicker than one would expect. We therefore won't be surprised if the prosecutors drop the state charges and ignore the 3 accusers' grievances. Just what will it mean for R. Kelly if the prosecutors choose not to go ahead with the state case trial? This would largely depend on their reason for dropping the case. There are several reasons why prosecutors can choose to drop a case before trial. 1. If they have insufficient evidence. A prosecutor may drop a criminal charge if it is determined that the evidence against the accused isn't strong enough. Or perhaps new evidence is found which undercuts the prosecution's case against the defendant. In this case, it will likely be both. I don't see just how much evidence the prosecution does have that will suffice to convict R. Kelly. If anything, the defense has done their homework, and their evidence will likely supersede that of prosecution. 2. Fourth Amendment violations. Prosecution may also choose to drop a case if the evidence they have was obtained illegally, or in a manner that violates the rights of the defendant. Mistakes made during arrest can also lead to case dismissal. And 3. A lack of resources. The reality is that prosecutors and district attorneys often deal with far too many cases than they are able to handle. As a result, they may be forced to allocate their time and resources to certain priority cases, while dropping or dismissing minor crimes. This is more likely if you're accused of a minor crime and you have no previous criminal record. If the prosecutors choose not to go forward with the state case trial, therefore, they will have admitted to one of these facts. Whatever the reason may be, it will be a score for the defense. One that can be used to argue out a successful appeal. It's clear that the days of harassing and castigating the R&B king are almost over. According to Morissa, I hope the prosecutors withdraw the state charges, considering R. Kelly has already been through a lot, and there is no new sentence they will give for this that will surpass the New York 30-year blasphemy. I hope they understand what I mean when I use the word blasphemy. Kelly should not be getting 30 years for anything. Even if he had been guilty. There is a limit to what he can get, and it's not 30. The challenge is judges think because they have the freedom to decide they can abuse it. If something is wrong, it remains wrong even if one has the power and liberty to do it. According to Barry Smith, I will totally understand if the prosecutors decide not to pursue the state charges. They don't have credible witnesses for this, and they have no tangible evidence. They are not dumb. They know well if they decide to go after Kelly for the third time, they will likely crash, and this will affect the appeal in favor of the defense, something they don't want to happen. But even if they choose not to do this, with the facts already gathered, R. Kelly will have a successful appeal. According to Anita Anderson, Andrew Wyatt in a previous video talks about Sony taking R. Kelly's catalog. I am confident too that Sony is right behind this. But karma is real, and all involved in taking R. Kelly down will one day have their own day in court. I don't understand why the Me Too movement wants us to believe that all women are innocent, yet we know the truth is most women will lie and cheat at the first opportunity in order to get what they want. Sincerely, not all women are innocent, especially if a mother has the audacity to take her daughter to an all-adult show and sneak her backstage to meet the singer. If a woman was able to ask her niece to sit on a man's lap and ask them to become their godfather. It was a woman who sent out suggestive texts to R. Kelly pretending to be the daughter. Right? So why does the Me Too movement want us to believe women are all good, and that it's only men capable of lying and committing crimes? I promise we will not be part of that roller coaster. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say? To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.